Welcome to a place where the mysterious becomes the unforgettable. This metaphysical journey explores hauntings, UFOs, extraterrestrials, cryptozoology, and everything the paranormal world has to offer. Each week, guests from around the globe share their expertise, experiences, and mind-bending encounters. This is the Paranormal Voice.
Hello. It is that time of the week again. So good to be back. So sorry, guys. It took a little extended time off, but it's okay. We are back at it. We are going at it like normal. And it is Sunday. Where else would you like to be? Right here in the TPV studios. And my guest today, I have an amazing guest. She's been on a few times before, and I'm so glad to finally get her back again. Uh, but before I bring her out here, just a couple of things going on, guys. You know what it is. It is coming up awfully quickly. That's right. Ascension Con. I will be there August 15th and doing a talk on spirit communications and a whole other things because when I get talking, I get rambling. And then the next thing I know, I'm totally off topic. But hey, guys, come on down. Check it out. This is the first ever Ascension Con, and it is right there in Carlton Park, Hastings, Michigan. And this is the breakdown right here, guys. The talks itself is going to happen on August 15th. It is absolutely free to attend the speaking engagements, to interact with the speakers. But if you on tickets for sale right now, and I don't know how many are left, but they do have a VIP galactic murder mystery dinner that is happening the Friday night, August 14th from 6 till 10 p.m. If you guys wish to have tickets, you guys can go over to Mama Mary, the secret code, sacredcode.com. Get your tickets for that. And then after the talks on Saturday, we are having a Bigfoot hunt with Ronnie LeBlanc, Jason Kenzie, and the She Squatchers. If you have ever thought about going on a Bigfoot hunt, this is going to be your opportunity to be part of this. Also, RJ DeRoos will be a part of that Bigfoot hunt as well. So that's going to be exciting. And another spectacular thing that's going to be happening that weekend, a gallery reading with the absolutely very lovely Dana Stricker is going to be there. And of course, this part I am so looking forward to the DNA activation with Deb DeRoos and Mama Mary. Guys, that is going to be exciting. So that's all part of Ascension Con weekend starting August 14th to the 15th. Guys, I hope you're going to be joining us. It is going to be an amazing weekend. And that's going to be coming up very, very soon. So, with that, without further ado, I'm going to bring out my fantastic guest. She has been with us once before. I'm so excited to have her back, because what she's doing in the paranormal field is going way beyond and trying new experiments. And you know what? Being in the paranormal field, you always like to try new things or figure out another way to investigate, add something to your skills and stuff like that. So we're going to be talking to this lovely right now. Let's bring her out here, the one, the only Dr. Harley Black.
Hello.
Welcome back to the TPV studios. It's so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me back.
It's been a while, and I see we were talking a little bit backstage. You are actually back into your house, which you had a fire at a while ago, and you're back home, and that must be exciting to be back in your familiar space.
Yes, we're back home. The Big Box's twin sister is here as well, so we're hoping that it behaves and we can sell this house before any other issues.
Oh, that is. I mean, that's the crazy part. And people who do not know that story, you can go back. I think that was our first episode I had you on where we talked about that box and what it did, and the whole belief in debit boxes and stuff like that, and the power that things that could happen with them, because there are a lot of stories out there and stuff like that about those boxes, and are they real or are they not real? But like you said, you had a really crazy experience with that.
Yeah, yeah, I believe we like went over it all in our on our previous episode. But a bed or a room that had absolutely no power to it whatsoever, and the box was sitting on a shelf with liquor bottles, and the entire room burst into flames. And the box was completely untouched um, at all. There wasn't even soot on it. And it was just sitting in the middle of the floor amongst all the rubble.
I mean, that's still a fascinating story. So yeah, go back, watch the episode, but not before this episode ends, because we're going to do a deep dive into what she is doing nowadays, and in with her parapsychology, and how she's changing the way that we investigate. And which what that mean is exactly the title of this show, spirit relationship development, because people will be like, what, are you trying to date a ghost or something? And but that's not it at all. And the reason why it was so fascinating, that I wanted to bring you back and talk about this, because I was just reading Shane Pittman's book, his brand new book, and he talks about a lot about what you're doing, and how going into a haunted place or something, and not just investigating, but really develop a relationship with the spirits or the energies that are in these places. So
Yeah,
I want you to first just kind of explain, because, like I said, people are like, "What is she trying to do? Create a dating service for ghosts?" And but explain about what it is, like when you're talking about spirit relationship development, how you came up with it, and how you're starting to apply it to what you're doing to for groundbreaking investigations.
yeah, absolutely. So spirit relationship development was essentially formed over a bunch of errors that I've made throughout my tenure investigating, and all the things that I did wrong, and recognizing all the stuff that I did wrong. For instance, going into a location with just cell phones and not being at all serious with just a couple of pals and laughing and carrying on, and shooting video clips and posting it online as quickly as we could, and not reviewing any of what we were capturing.
Right.
And then we get into the car later, and one of the buddies' moms called freaking out because she heard a woman screaming. And it was a Class A EVP. We had no idea we even captured that, and she thought that somebody was attacking us in the
Wow.
video because it just went blank. And so all of the things that uh, I have learned throughout my years investigating was we are as responsible for the activity as the spirits. So when we take spirit relationship development, it is a disciplined methodology. It kind of replaces the entertainment driven investigation. And it's really just built on relationships and not being the observer, but being active in the investigation. We are as responsible for the environment as the spirits and as the structures themselves. And I think that's what really changes the groundwork for this level of investigating, is being accountable for how our energy impacts the environment. And that kind of goes into my pillar one with the investigation and grounding, and being aware of what we're bringing into the environment, our anxieties, our excitement, um, and how that would impact the environment as well. Are we coming in there and being just silly and goofing around, or are we, being professional and knowing how to handle our equipment and leaving all of our anxieties like at the door so that we can be in tune with what's going on there?
Yeah, like when I totally agree because when you're going in there, like, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are just in it for the pure entertainment of it. And, because they've seen a bunch of ghost shows and they want to just, oh, let's go in there. But when you really get down to it, and for the people that have the passion of the paranormal, like myself and millions of others out there who do want to do it and try to get a serious reaction or conversation through our equipment and whatnot, it's like, yeah, it's like you go in there. Like, I always, when I'm talking and doing my speeches, I try to tell people, it's like, do you go to work and act like a goofball and your customers will not take you serious, or your coworkers and stuff like that? I'm like, but yet, if you go in there and you're ready to work, you're serious, you get better interactions. And the same with the spirits. And I've experienced this over the years myself, is that, you know, if you go to a location multiple times, you begin to actually develop a relationship with the spirits or the energies of that house. They get to know you. In this way here, when you go back, you have a better interaction when you're asking questions. So yeah, it's very serious to kind of open up that rapport. And like you were just stating, like, yeah, if you go in there and you're having bad anxiety, the energies of the house will pick up on that. And like people coming in with their, I say, their emotional garbage, like you just had a fight with your partner, you're angry, but you're going to go do that can reflect the energy that you're going to be getting in the house. So it's like, I love this whole, like, yeah, let's get to a more professional stance. And yeah, you like to have fun, because I also know too, like being part of investigation, when you kind of ignore the spirits of the house, they want to be more active to try to get your attention.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And kind of circling back, think about this. For most investigations, we're only there roughly 8 hours actually investigating. And so I would think to the spirits, we're just transient visitors. Like, what makes us worthwhile to talk to?
All right.
Because for us as just human beings, so if we believe that spirits are intelligent and they can talk to us and they have their own autonomy, then we have to believe that the psychology of people is still there, right? And so just to become a friend of somebody, it takes over 40 hours of time spent with another person for them to kind of consider you an acquaintance.
Right.
And for us to be like best friends, it takes over 300 hours. So if we're only there for 8 hours, we're not showing these spirits for any like substantial reason that they should trust us or want to communicate with us, or any of the other people that are there day after day, weekend after weekend.
Right.
But here's a great thing is we can bypass that entire human psychology, like of that time duration, that of what we have to put in with the spirits. And that's called the first responder effect. And what that is we instantly trust people of authority, police officers, firemen, ambulance workers, doctors. And the reason we trust them is because we believe in ourselves that those people are competent to do their jobs and they are going to be calm in a chaotic situation. So, how do we present ourselves to the spirits as you can trust us right away? We know what we're doing, we know what we're talking about.
Right.
And you will never see me in an investigation wearing just sweatpants and just lounge clothes. I am always dressed very professionally. Yes, I will still sit on the floor and I will get completely full of dust and dirt. But in the middle of that, though, I have the presentation of, hey, she looks like she's important. She should be trusted. So we will
Right.
talk to her. And I'm not trying to be like conceited when I say that, but it's like the proof is in the pudding, right? When we were actually getting documented results. And then when we get those documented results, how are we taking them? Are we just saying, oh my gosh, there was an EVP and it was loud and that person was screaming. So now they're angry and it's a demon. Well,
Right.
no. Can you imagine how much energy that takes to actually get a vocal like scream on the EVP that we didn't hear with our own ears? That's a lot of energy. And so I would never label that as like evil or demonic. That's just a really loud, like strong energy that they're like putting out there. And so that's where pillar 2 comes into play. And that is medical documentation. I take away all labels completely. So no anger, no happy, no this, just straight what happened. And this is the time, this is where it happened, these were the parameters of what we were doing, just so that we're not labeling anything. And then the next investigator that comes through can, maybe read our documentation and actually just have a clear slate. Like, okay, there were EVPs up here in this room. They didn't get anything down here, but that's it. It's just straightforward on what actually happened. And I think taking out the labels, it just gives other investigators kind of a clear like roadmap on how to navigate locations.
Yeah, no, I mean, having that kind of like when you go in, like you said, you present yourself in a way that would make most people feel comfortable. Like even if you're meeting a living human, you know, do you want to talk to the person that's dressed in all rags, or would you prefer to dress to somebody that comes up and looks like, yeah, they're important? Now, with your background and your knowledge and everything like that, when you go into a place, like what is usually the first thing you do? I mean, besides set up your equipment, like do you just go in and kind of just try to let the environment soak in and like listen to the environment, see what you're detecting through your natural instincts as humans? And I mean, I always tell people we are the best equipment you'll ever have in an investigation because all your senses will let you know what's going on.
I
So
like,
would
yeah, I like to go in and just walk around, but ignore what I feel. And what I
okay,
mean by that is because I don't care how many times I do this, I don't care where I go. Though that anxiety, that excitement is all still bubbling up inside of me. Right. And so I'm really like trying to like push it down and not be that giddy little girl that wants to run through the halls. And so I will literally like just push it all down and just feel, but not acknowledge. Right. Because
okay,
I know that I can feel something over here and something's kind of pulling me this way. So I'll walk the opposite way to see if it will like follow me and try to
okay,
ignore that. And that I think that alluring, just dismissiveness, I think is kind of captivating to the spirits because then, most people go towards them and like want to engage immediately.
right,
And I just ignore it like, nope, we're just gonna calm down a minute and just so I can get
right.
my bearings.
Yeah, and I mean, um, like myself, when I go into a place I've never been before, I usually like to stand in the middle of the room, try to figure out where the middle of the room is. I will just go there. I will just kind of just close my eyes and just kind of absorb what's going on around me to see if I can automatically start hearing voices or if I, like you said, get pulled in a direction. But I might not go there right away like you. I will just make a mental note. Okay, so I was told to go over here to maybe this little part of the room or maybe outside the room, but I'll go there a little bit later because I just want to see what else is going on and see how my approach is going to be for the rest of the evening. But I just like to go in and just kind of just mentally or telepathically talk to any energies that's there instead of verbally this way here because they are very intelligent and I know they can read our thoughts and our minds because if they couldn't, then they wouldn't know that you're in there and you have anxiety. They can pick up on that stuff. Like their vibration is at such a high level that they can sense stuff before we even know. And I tell people they know you're coming before you even know you're going there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you don't need like quantum mysticism.
Yeah.
The human presence alone changes environments as soon as we walk in. And it's just really trying to control that within ourselves to have that zeroed out playing field. So we're not influencing anything else around us more than just being ourselves.
Right.
And I think that as like the team dynamic behind that is can be very beneficial. Whether you're having that fight with your spouse or whatever, just that zeroing out that just level emotional state, and then that consistency throughout the night, I think really has an impact on the spirits, because like they can see that familiarity, right? That just, okay, this person is the same throughout the entire time. They're not fluctuating up and down with their emotions. And I think that builds trust as well.
Yep. So you would probably be the perfect person to ask this question to. So when you're investigating, how do you distinguish between experiences that might have a psychological exploration or those that you believe that warrant like maybe digging a little bit further into, is this actually paranormal experience or is it just something else that's affecting your ability in what you're doing at that moment?
I think that is an extremely tough and delicate question. uh, it's hard when you go into places that you're invited to and trying to discern whether or not it is a psychological manifestations of sorts, or if it is paranormal. And I think that's just where time is put in. And I don't think honesty is the best method sometimes with
Okay.
your client. um, but I don't think that obviously encouraging manifestations that are purely psychological are um, beneficial for that individual either. I just say that they should, see their primary care provider.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a very good answer, and I appreciate you answering it the way that you did. But the reason why I asked that question is because, in my experience, and I've tried these with experimenting and stuff like that. Like I always tell people, going into any investigation, you have to keep an open mind. You have to be basically clear because if you go in there and you have a thought process of, say, for example, oh, I am 100% sure I'm going to see a ghost. And that's the whole thing. You're thinking that the whole time in your head. Like our brains are so far advanced, more advanced than we actually know, that your brain can actually make you think that you just saw a ghost because this is what all you've been thinking about the whole day. Like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to see a ghost. But it didn't happen. It's just something your brain showed you because our brains are that good that they can trick us into seeing something that's not really there.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. I believe that we can definitely mentally manifest anything that we desire. Now, whether it is in actuality in like a physical, substance of sorts is completely debatable. But I think that's the hardest part about parapsychology is this something that somebody is, just hallucinating or having a schizophrenic episode about, or is it a justifiable phenomena?
Right.
And I think skeptics across the globe will say that we're just a bunch of schizophrenics. you know? I can say that I'm not, but at the same time, I have seen ghosts.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, it's just like, yeah, I mean, skeptics, I love skeptics because you know what? It's what actually keeps people always, I don't want to say kind of trying to prove them that they do exist. I more always flip that script. Well, you explain to me why they don't exist. And, but yeah, but they still bring relevant. You always, any team I've ever been a part of, there's always one person on a team that's a skeptic. They're just brought along just because they do have skepticism and they want to be proven wrong. They want to have that experience. And I believe paranormal experiences are very personal experiences. You know, nobody has the same experience as you do. They might have something similar, but never exactly the way you feel or what you see or how you interpret what you saw. So that's another thing. But people who want to say that they, you know, the paranormal doesn't exist, and I'm like, well, that's very small-minded thinking of you if you actually think we're on this earth alone.
I don't want to prove ghost exists to anybody. I don't want to disprove it. I just want you to just step into my world with the open mind and let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like, come on in, sit down, open up your mind, and see what you're gonna get. Um, so, from your experience as a parapsychologist, what are the most common misconception people have about paranormal investigations?
That every single paranormal phenomena is a demon. I think that is the one. I know. See, and that's what I mean. That's why it's always the top of tier of the list, is because that is just such, or that I'm a satanic worshiper, or that I have some sort of occult background, as far as like witchcraft and stuff like that. It is really bizarre to me that that's what you run to first. Or not you, but other individuals run to first. Is it's a demon and she's a Satanist and it's just awful. And I can tell you that I cannot think of off the top of my head anybody that dabbles in the occult or would be considered a like satanic believer, or like that's how they worship.
Right.
Ever in the 26 years I've done this, I've never actually met anybody that actually goes down that avenue. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with individuals that do. Everybody has their right to their, worship the way they would like. But I've never encountered anybody like that. And so to have that thought process be like that stigma put on me, it's like really, I think it's still shocking even today when I'm asked what I believe in. Do I believe in the devil? Do I pray to the devil?
Yeah, yeah, the demonic entity things, everything's a demon is just, that's just mind blowing. And I often tell people, I'm sure if it was a demon trying to possess you, he would probably want to do better things instead of just come and haunt your house and flip things upside down and break your TV like you've seen in the movie Poltergeist.
Right. I think, and I don't believe I've personally ever ran into a demon, but I would imagine that if I would, this demon would be extremely engaging and giving me all the evidence I want and making off, like setting off all of my equipment and just being very, very active. And I can tell you, I have not ever experienced that. I have to work extremely hard to get the slightest bit of blips on stuff. So that's why I don't believe I've ever ran into a demon, because they would want to be your bestie and, do all these things for you and, have you like just, oh my gosh, let's be friends and come home with me. And I have not experienced that much willingness. and make my equipment go off.
Yeah, and I mean, I often just tell people, I mean, I say the way you are in this life is the way you're going to be in the afterlife. So if you're a mean, grumpy old guy in this life, you are that grumpy old guy in the afterlife, and you're not a demon.
Fair enough. Fair
You know,
enough.
that's just the way. Because I mean, I've been on lots of investigations. I've been to places where apparently demonic entities are, and I've had some pretty crazy experience and some life-changing experiences on my behalf. But do I think it was demonic that did that to me? Absolutely not, because I think that if that was their intention, like you said, they would want to become your best friend. They would want to entrust you and, try to be everything you would want in a person or a ghost, and to kind of manipulate you that way.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. But yeah, so that's what I think is the biggest stigma. These extraterrestrials are not. What was that?
It says,
Humans according to them. I don't know where the U.S. churches get their guidance from. I am not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. I will.
First
tell
of all,
you.
I would never think an ET would be a demonic entity, anyways. I mean, that is. But yeah, there are people that probably believe that. I mean, I know there's a brand new movie that's out called Disclosure Day. Very fascinating movie. I went and seen it. I did a show about it before I went to see it. But yeah, to think that extraterrestrials are demons, yeah, but I can say, yeah, a lot of churches, and it depends on your religion, they think people like us are devil worshippers because we like to pursue the dead that but we're not really pursuing, we're just trying to understand what is going to happen to us when our lives do become to the end. Like, will we ever have all the answers? I don't think we ever will. I mean, all those answers will be answered the day we do take our last breath, and we will know what happens on the other side. That's why I tell everybody when I die, get your recorders ready because I'm going to let you know what's happening on the other side.
My only thing I'll say about like star people or aliens or ETs, whatever you would like to call them, that is the one thing I do not engage in investigating whatsoever. I am petrified. I am a scared little girl. I will hide in a corner. Just no.
One has to wonder what lens we perceiving anything in our view. 100%. No, that's true. But that again, that's the paranormal experiences being your personal experience. I mean, I could tell people what I've been through and some of my experiences, and I've been told to my face that no, I'm lying, I'm making this stuff up. And I said, trust me, I'm not that imaginative. Like I can never be a Hollywood screenwriter because my imagination does not go that wild. I can only tell you what I experienced when I experienced it. But that is a personal experience to me and how I see what happened to me and lay it out. Now, people don't want to believe me. That's totally on them. But I can't discredit any stories that were ever told to me because I wasn't there. I didn't live through it. And even if I was there, that's that person's experience. So I always tell people, thank you for sharing. But I don't discredit or believe anything else to say that they're trying to make up a story. Like there's a lot of stuff out on the internet, and you probably see it all too. People passing off all these AI videos now as paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, 20 years doing this, I've never once seen anything do that. Do I say it can't happen? Absolutely not. But that's very hard to believe.
No, AI it just caught like wildfire, and everybody has a hold of it for any um, mystical or just fantastic events that they would like to create. And while I think it's amazing that we have the technology to be able to do this, I think that passing it off as a fact or a real event is sometimes just kind of yucky.
Now, taking your background and everything that you have knowledge of, how damaging um, can a can a paranormal experience be to somebody? Because paranormal trauma is a real thing. There are people that have PTSD because of a paranormal experience. Now, with your background and everything, I would like you to touch a little bit on this uh, and how, like, just going in there and not preparing yourself for to talk to the other side or take it as a joke, and how serious and how effective it can be on anybody who doesn't go into these things prepared.
Absolutely. So that goes into pillar three, and that is our protection and safety. And so the the way we experienced the paranormal for the very first time, I cannot imagine a single person said it was fantastic. I loved it. It was the best day of my life. Absolutely not. It is something that we cannot physically touch. We don't have the capacity to fully comprehend it. Even experienced veterans that are doing this, we still get scared. I
Right.
still will scream. I will still run. Like, I will. I try not to be a cowdy custard, but there's times where that bang is right next to your head, and you're like, "Holy buckets!" and you just haul out, "Hi."
Right.
This is my Great Dane, Ginny. um,
Hello, puppy.
Scooby Doo was a Great Dane,
Yes,
so
yes.
they say that they're supposed to protect you against evil spirits. So I went and got one. But I think that it can be extremely traumatic, and especially if you don't know what's happening. I think
Right.
as adults, getting into the paranormal and seeing the shows and really like diving down that rabbit hole can be exhilarating and frightening. But I think like a child growing up and having these experiences and seeing the dead or hearing the dead, I think could really be detrimental for some children. Like you said, everybody has their own personal experiences, their own perception, which I greatly, greatly respect. But going into these investigations and not being fully prepared for what can happen, I think is really tough, especially like the paranormal hangover, right? When we're not bubbling up and we're going in and we're investigating and we're having that, experiences with the paranormal and equipment is going off. And then for the next 3 days, you just feel like you just drank like 6 bottles of Jägermeister in one night, and you're just like Gatorade and takeout, and you're just feeling crummy, and you're calling in sick on work on Monday. Obviously, this is a true story that happened to me at the beginning when I didn't know that I needed protection. And so now I bubble up every single time, and I have my rosary with me, and religious, I guess, charms or icons or whatever, just to protect myself. But then people are wondering, well, if you believe in the paranormal, and then you go and you use, like, I use Catholic, um, I guess, items to protect myself with. Uh, how is that? How am I sure that those things will help me?
Right.
Right. And I can't tell you why they work. That is one of the mysteries of, you know, my personal belief system. There is just, it just does.
Now, I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. Now, when you first got into it, you probably have changed your method probably quite a few times
Yeah.
with your understanding. Now, is there one particular investigation or experience that you had that really changed the way you thought about the paranormal and what it made you think, well, now I need to approach it from a different perspective?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was actually the Palmer House in Sauk Center, Minnesota. The basement is legend to have a demon, and there's multiple spirits located in this building. It's been on every single like paranormal TV show. The place is fantastic. It's actually owned by Dave Schrader now and his wife. Fantastic, lovely, lovely place. I was extremely young and extremely dumb, and I thought provocation was how you get responses.
Right.
And I knew that the spirit that was inhabiting one of the rooms was there with her cat, and she was waiting for her fiance or boyfriend to come back from war. And she was a very upset and distraught young lady. And I said things that I won't repeat because it was atrocious, and I'm still ashamed.
Right.
And every time I go back, I bring her a bouquet of flowers just to re-apologize for my just disgusting behavior. But she actually slapped me and punched me and gave me a black eye. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I had my tush handed to me that night for being so just disrespectful. And it was that night I was like, oh my gosh, okay, that is not going to work. Going to somebody else's house and, being really rude to them and telling them your opinion on their behavior, missing their loved one.
Right. That
And that's where the whole respect thing came into play very, very quickly
right.
in my career. I don't even think I had my doctorate yet when I was there. And yeah, that one sticks with me. And when you walk out of a hotel with a black eye, but you're the only one that was in that room, people give you kind of a couple of funny looks like, what were you doing?
What happened to you in that room? And I'm too scared to use a Ouija board. I, I have changed my views on that topic right there. Just because, when I was younger, something happened to me and I always swore I'd never touch one. But, that's where education comes in about Ouija boards and their use and, their purpose. But it's really no different than any other piece of equipment we use. When you really boil it down, like a spirit box is just a electronic version of a Ouija board.
I think the electronic devices that we use are probably, in my opinion, and I say this extremely loosely, but more dangerous than a Ouija board. And the reason being is because that's just wood and a planchette. Now, granted, it can hold energy just because it's wood, but we're actually putting batteries in these devices. It is powering that. So it is giving that spirit that extra oomph of EMF to really,
Right.
be able to get across what they're thinking. Can you hear her sniffing that mic? I'm sorry.
Gee, it's okay. Always like the fur friends. They are always welcome on this show anytime. No, but no, it is it. I mean, you're right. I mean, we are actually giving the energy in the because I've said that on many investigations. Like, if you need some energy to talk to me, I mean, you're more welcome to use some of my energy. And that's usually when my camera goes dead because they just suck the battery life out of that.
Absolutely. Like I will leave my batteries in my truck because
Yeah,
if I know if I bring them in like a whole pack of like AAA or AA, none of them are going to work. And then I'm just going
right.
to have wasted $20 and be really upsetty spaghetti. So
Right.
I will leave them in the vehicles, like in the parking lot, and
Right.
then just go and replace as I need them just to avoid that insta drain of like the entire pack.
Right. Now you just explained to all the energies and entities that where your batteries are, so they'll go to your car, drain the batteries
Oh
there, and come
no. Well, I mean, they could have just followed me outside to see me change it out.
But no, I mean, us, having electronics, like, yeah, they can absolutely use that to either for manifestation purposes or because you touched on it earlier, how much energy they have to really use in order to get something on a recorder, or even with those people that have the ability to hear with their naked ear, you know, like to us, it sounds very, very faint, but yeah, at them, it's like how much energy they could be screaming at the top of their lungs, but you're only hearing a little faint yell. But the more energy they can present, like kind of absorb, then yeah, they are going to be able to kind of talk to you. I mean, I always say that ghosts don't work on demand. I wish they would, but they don't. So it's like you said, the respect factor. If you go in and you give them compliments or tell them how beautiful their house is, and oh, that's a very lovely picture. Is that you in the picture? Like you're trying to gain that personal relationship with them. So they're going to become trusting and they're going to want to try to give you, but like the energy they're using to talk to us is probably a lot. Like if you think like, how would you feel if you didn't sleep for 3 days? How tired would you be? But the second you had a Monster or Red Bull, you might be ready to run the Boston Marathon again.
I think we've perfected ghost hunting, right? We have not perfected the observation and intention yet. And that is what spirit relationship development is. It is creating an entirely new way of investigating, where the paranormal investigating, as we know it, just kind of needs to be like extinguished, and the field really needs to evolve, because every investigation changes three things. It changes the investigation, the investigator, and the environment, right? And so like it's just the environment is responding like long before we even realize it. So it's using that methodology, excuse me, to slow down and to be able to hear it.
So for you, somebody comes up to you, Dr. Harley Black, I want to get into paranormal investigating. What would be your best advice you would give these people that probably are not, say they haven't even watched the show, but all of a sudden they feel they've had paranormal experiences and they want to get into the field to explore it a little bit more? How would you mold this person to bring what you're bringing into the paranormal field? How would you kind of mold them so that this way here they kind of get off on the right foot instead of like us, like, yeah, running into a house screaming, yeah, show me what you got or you're not real, you're an asshole.
um I I think I would first be like, are you sure this is really what you want to do? And based on that conviction, I think somebody with the passion for paranormal investigating, if they really came to me and said, I really want to get into this, I would just ask them, like, just to sit still within yourself and really just dig deep in, like, what about the paranormal makes you want this so bad, right? And I think that's where I would start, is because once you have to be able to find that passion, what that burning in your soul is that you want to like go on this adventure. And once you kind of have that realization or that epiphany of like why, everything else just falls right into place afterwards, right? Once you have that desire, respect will come with the time. How to investigate will come with time. We're learning every day. Nobody is perfect at this. I literally go into investigations and just talk and play games, and I'm just really, really silly. I say it, professionalism and methodology, but I follow that, but in just a silly way, because I think that spirits are already there having questions asked time and time again, day after day, week after week. And
Right.
so once you're the entertainment, that piques their interest a little bit more. So yeah, I would say just be a kid at heart and just be silly.
Now, I often talk about this with the circle of paranormal because I always want to know why people are getting into the paranormal. But my strong belief is that we don't choose the paranormal. The paranormal chooses us in a way. Now, a lot of it could be an experience that we had as a young person. Something like even older people too can first time have experience and now they want to figure out where these. Now, do you believe that is a good statement, or is that just like there are people that just they're curious, but I just find it hard to believe anybody would just be curious about trying to run into a dark building and all of a sudden want to talk to dead people. Like there's got to be a reason why somebody does it. And I think this is why I say we don't choose the paranormal, but the paranormal chooses us because some of us have gifts and some of us don't. Some of us can see things, some of us can't. So what would be your thought on just that statement alone of people choosing the paranormal over the paranormal giving us something, so this is what piques our curiosity to move forward in doing what we do.
Yeah, I think we are chosen. I think that it takes an extremely special breed of people to walk into the dark shadows and start talking to the air, you know? Um, and I think that most investigators at some point have experienced the paranormal in one way or another. And that being said, like we're out there and we're chasing answers, right? We're explorers, we're pioneers, uh, and I think that the way that the paranormal community has shifted with the way we are gathering information and gathering data, um, compared to stories, right? We all know that these places are haunted. Nobody's asking whether or not these places are haunted anymore. Now it's what are we gathering for the data? What evidence are we collecting? What can we share with other people about the people from the past? And I think that's really, really neat.
Yeah, no, telling the stories to people that don't have the ability to tell the story. I mean, I know there's people that write history books, but they're basing it off of, you know, a few people that they talk to. Where people that are into paranormal investigation, it can go in and actually talk to the people themselves. I mean, I always remember when my kids were very young going to school. I remember my one son telling his teacher that he was learning about history, and he goes, "Well, my dad will talk to those dead people to find out the true story." And the teachers would be confused by that. And I had to explain to them, yes, I'm a paranormal investigator. I do love history. So I will go to a haunted place and I will, some of the knowledge I have, I will ask these people personally. Will I get the answers? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But, you know, it's like, yeah, let the buildings, the structure, and the spirits tell the story because I'm sure a lot of them have a lot to get off their chest.
Absolutely. I mean, if we can hypothesize the paranormal is real, we'll just pretend it is because we can't really prove it, right?
Right.
And I believe meaningful experiences deserve serious study. Then it's our responsibility not to become better ghost hunters or better at using a K2 or deciphering EVPs. It's to become better observers, to be better communicators, and to be better stewards of our environments that we enter. Spirit relationship development challenges investigators to stop chasing the phenomena and start building the relationships. Because when we transform the investigation, the investigator, the environment, we don't just improve our methods, we redefine the future of paranormal research.
Wow. And that's what we need to keep growing in this field, like different methods, different ways of looking at the paranormal to kind of gain the answers that you're looking for within the paranormal field. The shows are great. These people that are on these shows are amazing people. I've had the distinct pleasure of meeting the majority of them and just seeing just how down to earth these people really are. And seeing what they're doing to change how we look at the paranormal field and how we're going to move it forward, because you can only do the same thing so many times. It's like the old theory, like if you keep sticking a fork in a outlet, you're going to keep getting shocked. Until you turn
Yeah.
the power off, you're going to keep getting shocked. The paranormal, we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But until you change up your methods in the way you're looking at the paranormal field and what you're doing, you're going to be that tire in the mud that's just going to keep spinning, and you're not going to gain anything. You're not going to get the answers you're looking for. So I appreciate what you're doing out there and trying to change the mindset of how we think about the paranormal compared to just going in and barking out a bunch of questions and not getting anything and then going, well, see, I told you it wasn't real.
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy to be here, and hopefully this idea of mine, this methodology, not only helps other investigators be more disciplined, and I just hope to give the entire community just like a reboot. We're kind of in a stalemate right now. We need to evolve, and so we have to figure out how do we, make this field move forward from where
Right.
we're at right now. And that's seriously just spirit relationship development and being the disciplined methodology and being accountable.
Right. So this hour has gone by super fast, just like every show I do with you. It's like, I wish my work days would go by this fast. Uh, but I want you to take this opportunity right now. If people are looking to learn more about your research and what you're doing, the best place that they can find that at. And also, too, any events you're going to be at, any speaking engagements, or if people are looking to connect with you, like how to ball that all up to get to walk us out of the show. So however you want to start answering that, that's totally up to you. Like I said, I just want people to find out just how fascinating you are and your research is, because I think this is what the field really needs. It needs a new breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. Well, on October 3rd of this year, I will be at the Rock Island Roadhouse Expo. And then I will also be at the Hutchinson, Kansas Paracon. What dates are those again? I totally just. I think those are in October too. We'll be there. And then I will be at the Blood Moon Parafest October 17th and 18th in Michigan. But you can find me at Haunting the Haunts on every social media platform, or just harleyblack.com. And then Haunting the Haunt Spirit Relationship Development book will be out in 10 days. So on July 15th on Amazon, and you can just search Harley Black.
Well, I can't wait to get that book. I'll be definitely ordering that book and when it comes in. And I can't wait because, yes, I will be speaking at the Blood Moon Parafest along with you and several other amazing guests. So I'm looking forward to that. I actually get to see you in person instead of through over a screen, and that's going to be amazing. But But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and talking about your research, what you're doing, how you're changing the paranormal field, and how we're looking at the paranormal field. Because, like I said, that is truly important to kind of start for those who are serious and want to upgrade on what we're doing and trying to more understand the other side. So, with that, Hurley, thank you so much. It's so great to spend this hour with you. I look forward to seeing you in October. Guys, check her out on all of her social media pages. And if you can't make it to Michigan to see her, the Rock Island Parafest, that's another amazing event. I know some of the people that are putting that on as well. I wish I could be down there myself because I hear it's a fabulous location. But guys, check out Harley Black on all her social medias. Follow her, keep up to date with her. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to her. She is so amazing at getting back to everybody. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. People on the side, thank you so much for tuning in. People who are watching this show a little bit later on down the road, thank you so much. Don't forget, if you're new to the show, please hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with every one of our shows. With that being said, I will be back. I'm not sure if I have a show next week or not. I have to get some medical things taken care of, so we'll see how I feel by next week. But in the meantime, and in between time, like my partner Michael John says, happy hunting.